day, Miss Dison. I am Christine Dayancy Amarante, PSA Major in Agronomy. And for today's video, gagawa naman tayo ng bagong video! Feeling aside. Anyways, for this video, I will answer 3 questions about Lesson 3, water and its property. And I hope I can elaborate and explain it so that you guys will understand and get some learnings about this topic. So without further ado, let's start! Cohesive is the polarity of water, allows water molecules to be attracted to one another. The oxygen end of each water molecule, which is positive, is attracted to the hydrogen end, which is positive molecules. That's why water sticks together, and it is because of the hydrogen bonds. Based on my research, each water molecules can form 4 hydrogen bonds, and therefore the surface tension produced by cohesion makes it possible for light objects to float on the water without sinking, like an insect such as water strider, and as we can see, it really walks on the water. Adhesive is an attraction for other polar substances, and water adheres to any substance with which it can form hydrogen bonds. Like if a glass tube with a narrow diameter is lowered into a beaker of water, the water will rise in a tube above the level of the water in the beaker because the adhesion of water to the glass surface, drawing it upward, is stronger than the force of gravity pulling it downward. The narrower the tube, the greater the surface area available for adhesion for a given value of water, and the higher the water rises in the tube. Ibig nitong ipinapahiwatig na kapag malaki yung tube is katamtaman lamang ang level na tubig ang nasa loob nito. At makikita natin dito sa image na habang lumiliit yung tube is mas mataas ang level ng tubig ang nakapaloob nito. There are 7 properties of water. Hydrogen bonds, the single most outstanding chemical property of water, is its ability to form weak chemical association. In hydrogen bonding, if we consider the shape of a water molecule, we can see that its 2 covalent bonds have a partial change at end, negative at the oxygen and positive at the hydrogen end. And these bonds even only have 5 to 10% of that strength of covalent bonds. They are also important to DNA and protein structure. They are responsible for much of the chemical organization of living systems. In cohesion, the positive and negative charge of the hydrogen and oxygen atom that make up water molecules attracted to each other, and it results why the surface tension proceeds by it and makes it possible for light object to float and didn't submerge in water like a water strider. Adhesion, it is a process through which identical molecules interact and stick to one another. For example, capillary action causes water within the narrow tube to rise above the surrounding water level. The narrower the tube, the greater the surface area available for adhesion. Short, the more na maliit o makitid yung tube is mas mataas ang level na tubig ang nakapaloob nito. Hydrogen bonds absorb heat when they break and release heat when it forms, minimizing temperature change. And based on my research, water does not experience large temperature change because it needs addition of a lot energy to heat up and loss of a lot energy to cool down. Like for example, magpapakulo ako ng tubig at bago kumuloy iyon, kailangan ng apoy upang ito ay uminit. At habang tumatagal, ito ay kukulo at kapag ito ay hindi na nakasalang sa may apoy, babalik ito sa normal itong temperatura. High specific heat also has a great deal to do with regulating extremes in the environment. Water has a high heat of vaporization. The amount of energy needed to change 1 gram of a liquid substance to a gas at constant temperature. It means that Many hydrogen bonds must be broken for water to evaporate. In addition, evaporation is the change from liquid into a gas. There are two examples of vaporization. Water to steam. Water is vaporized when it is boiled on the stove to cook something, while the other one is water evaporates from a pool or a lake during a hot summertime. Water molecule is an ice crystal are spaced relatively far apart because of a hydrogen bonding, like an ice floats in water. This happened because of a chemical bonding, which is hydrogen bonding. The density of solid becomes less when it expands, means water freezes at 0 degrees centigrade to form ice, that's why it expands. Yung density ng ice ay nagde-decrease, halimbawa ng 9%, kaya nagiging magaan ito at lumilitaw na lamang sa liquid na tubig. Water solubility is a measured amount of chemical substance that can dissolve in water. Like salt, sugar, and coffee, they are polar molecules or the hydrophilic because this substance dissolve in water. There is also a non-polar molecules like sand. It is a hydrophobic compound because it can dissolve easily in water. The importance of water and usual property for living system. These unique properties are: first is water is less dense as a solid than as a liquid such as iceberg. In ponds and lakes, ice forms on the surface of water creating an insulating barrier that protects the animals and plant life from freezing. Second is water has cohesive and adhesive properties. Creation of water helps plants take up water at their roots, and adhesion allows for water to move against gravity through plant cells. Third is that water has a high heat capacity, and it helps for living organisms because they can only survive and reproduce if their temperature are maintained within a limited range. Fourth is that water is an excellent solvent for us humans. It helps our day-to-day life. Example in cooking, it needs salts. Through water, the salt dissolves as a result for the food to have some taste and other substances that this water to dissolve for our needs as humans. And lastly, is that water has high heat of vaporization, which is key to how organisms cool themselves by the evaporation of sweat.